present cloud programming and software environments. Here in this session, I want to present mainly the programming environments, the programming model in cloud. Here the concept is parallel and distributed programming paradigms. A distributed computing system is a set of computational engines connected by a network to achieve a particular common goal of running a job or a real-time application. A computer cluster or network of workstations is an example of distributed computing system. Here we can observe distributed computing system and parallel computing system. Consider the second one, parallel computing system. Parallel computing system is nothing but it is a simultaneous use of more than one computational engines to run a job or an application. Running a parallel program on a distributed computing system has several advantages for both the users and distributed computing systems and all. So, but running this distributed in a parallel computing system is very difficult. It takes a very complex issue, and but even of course this is highly required and for all the highly available performance and in the real-time applications. From the user's perspective, it decreases application response time. From the distributed computing system standpoint of view, it increases the throughput and resource utilization. So if you can, the user's perspective is different, and whereas the distributed computing system perspective is different. According to the distributed computing system, it increases the throughput and resource utilization. That is, if you consider in the aspect of the distributed computing system, here it increases the throughput and just the resource utilization is more. And whereas the user's perspective is different now, if you consider the user's perspective, it decreases the application's response time. If we see all the times, this is all the commercial purpose, the applications and these many sophisticated issues we will interlink and we will use for real-time applications for highly availability and to have the high performance. We should all the times think about the distributed computing systems from the system's perspective only. So if we decide if the number of applications are more, then definitely we can go for this distributed combined with parallel computing systems. And running such a parallel program on a distributed computing system could be a very complicated process. I have already told you that we can run a parallel program. We can run a parallel program. Parallel program is different and distributed system, distributed tasks, and that scheduling is different. If you combine these two, if you run this parallel program on your distributed computing system, definitely it increases the complexity. It increases the complexity, so thereby it could be very complicated process. Dear students, coming to the parallel computing and programming patterns. For running a typical parallel program, either in parallel or distributed manner, would definitely include the following certain parameters will be there. So the first one is partitioning must be done. Partitioning means the data partitioning. Data means not only the data. Two types of partitionings will be there. Computation partitioning, data partitioning. Computation partitioning splits a given job or a program into smaller tasks. That is what means what in aspect of computation you will split the data, the work. Here the work is the aspect of computation. That is the computation partition. So you will run these different isolated works at different workers will be there. So there you will run parallelly. This is one such a task, and just running these parallel programs, almost all running these parallel programs would include all these things. One is compulsorily go with the partitioning. I will explain with example in the map reduce example in this session, right? So partitioning and data partitioning is also. Yes, partitioning means you can do the computation partitioning. You can share the work and you can share the data. You can partition the data, right now. So here, suppose if you want to do, if you want to conduct a function, so at the time you won't give the entire task, entire work to only one person. There many workers are parallelly doing their jobs, right? That is what computation partitioning. Computation partitioning. Each and every work is isolated and independent, and all these works can be independently performed at one time, right? So that's the best example like this. And at one place the decoration people will do the decoration, and at one another place the workers and just they will arrange all the chairs and all everything. They will do the preparation for the function. And at one another in the kitchen, then some of the just maids will do the preparation for food items and all. Parallelly these works are going on. Can you give all these tasks to only one person? Right. That is not possible, right? So yes, that is not possible in the sense that is very complex. It takes much more time. That is how we decide the parallel and distributed program paradigms. For that, these many operations we have to go through. Partitioning we should go through, mapping we should go through, scheduling we should go through, right? So the partitioning means that it may be the computation partitioning. What do you mean by the data partitioning? Consider the same example function. So then just you will give the data, you will give some sort of the more very important persons or just coming to the function that is organized by you. Then you will give the list to the main key persons. You will share the data to main key persons to make the successful smooth functioning of the main that event. Isn't it? So that there the data distribution, the data partitioning must be there. And that is not only the way. Suppose if one person just can have all the VIPs, then can partition the number of VIPs and what is the cadre of all those VIPs can partition according to the according to the persons. Suppose 100 VIPs are coming to your function. Then among these 100 people, 15 are for officials, higher officials, and 15 people are related to the main from the political background, and 50 members are from your relatives and from main very important persons in your relatives. So such categories you will do now. That is nothing but the data partition. That is not computation partition. That is data partition. Is it clear? So this is what you should go with whenever if you are running a parallel program. A parallel program in a distributed manner means this is exactly the best example, right? And the second one is mapping. Yes, this process aims to appropriately assign such pieces to be run simultaneously on different workers and is usually handled by resource allocation in the system. That is nothing but the mapping. Yes, coming to the next one, the third one, synchronization. Because different workers may perform different tasks, synchronization and coordination among workers is highly required. Yes, so that the race conditions will be there. The race conditions are prevented and data dependency among different workers is properly managed. And the fourth one is communication. Communication, why? Because of yes, highly required. Data dependency is one of the main reasons for communication among workers. Communication is always triggered when the intermediate data is sent to workers. Okay, right? So this is a communication, it must require. Whenever you are running a parallel program in a distributed manner, these many partitioning must be required, mapping must be required, synchronization must be required, communication must be required, and the loss scheduling highly required. In a distributed manner, you will do all this. You will assign the tasks to the workers, and all these workers should be synchronized and should be scheduled first. Then only the synchronization is it's possible, right? For your job or your program, when the number of computation parts or data pieces is more than the number of workers, a scheduler selects a sequence of tasks or data pieces to be assigned to the workers, right? So these are highly required. Motivation for programming paradigms. Here the motivation is highly required because here high throughput, for high availability, and for all the real-time applications, you'll go with this much of sophisticated paradigms. So the main motivation is for the high availability. That is main motivation. That is all the times we will struggle, and not only that, to improve productivity of programmers, to decrease the program's time to market, and to leverage underlying resources more efficiently, to increase the system throughput, to support higher levels of abstraction. Yes, for all this nothing but the main outcome is nothing but the new programming paradigm. In that new programming paradigm, MapReduce, Hadoop, RAD, all these are the three major, the most recently proposed parallel and distributed programming paradigms. Parallel and distributed programming paradigms. What are those, ma'am? Yes, MapReduce, Hadoop, and RAD. Yes, what is a MapReduce? MapReduce is a framework. Yes, it's a software framework. MapReduce is a software framework. It supports parallel and distributed computing on large data sets. Here one is map and another one is reduce. Means these are the two interfaces it uses, two interface functions it uses. One is map and another one is reduce. Okay, and this is here. This is very simple data parallel programming model, and for large scale data processing, this is highly required. It exploits a large set of commodity computers, executes process in distributed manner, offers high availability, and this is pioneered by Google and processes 20 petabytes of data per day. And this is popularized by open source Hadoop project. And you can go ahead with just Facebook and Amazon and all the online. You can go ahead with this MapReduce programming model. MapReduce framework is only going to be used in all the real-time, highly available applications, and this MapReduce is going to be used. In the figure, you can observe the map and reduce. In MapReduce framework, software framework, all the times you will perform only two functions. These two functions can be override by the user, can write their own logic in these two functions. What is the purpose of these two functions is nothing but, the map is nothing but it accepts the input, the offset value, the key value, and emits intermediate key value pair. That is a map function. The input is the blocks and the offset value will give it as an input to the map, and the output of the map is the intermediate key value and some sort of logic it performs. What is that logic? That depends on your problem. That depends on your problem statement. Whatever the way you will write this code for map, that is the same. But the output is also the key value. According to your logic, it produces the key value. Okay, right? In my next sessions, further sessions, I will explain with one example what is a MapReduce example for word count example. Okay, right? So you can override the map function. So whatever the way that you have written the programming statements, in such a way it produces the output, and the output of the map, there is some after adjust it produces the key value, intermediate key value, where it produces as an output, that is a map. Okay, and another interface function here is reduce. Reduce, it accepts this intermediate key value. It just some sort of sorting and sorting data is going to be happen, and it accepts that intermediate key value pair, and it emits output key value pair. Yes, the key value pair. In what way means that is dependent on your problem statement. In what way you will mold these two functions, in such a way these two will perform. Okay, right? So this is nothing but a map reduce. Okay, right? Here the partitioning in between this map and reduce, the partitioning functions are going to be happen, that is internal to the Hadoop architecture. And here in the figure you can observe the main file input. The file is nothing but the input to the map framework, entire framework, and the reduce will generate the output, the result. The logical data flow. Logical data flow in 5 processing steps in map reduce process. So here, how this map reduce is going to be happening? If you consider the previous figure, map and reduce functions are going to be executed, but here internally the one controller will be there. One controller, so there the map reduce library it maintains. Map reduce library it maintains. So with the help of that, all the steps are going to be happening. See, if you consider the data flow, the logical data flow, consider one example. Here, map. For the map, the offset, the block value and the real value, the key and value is nothing but the input. So just like you will split the input file into the number of blocks, each and every block you will give it as an input to the map function. So then this map function considers this and it adds one value, one count to that each and every block. Okay, so that is, so the same output here is the key 1 comma value, key 8 comma value, key 2 comma value, and again that key 8 comma value, key 5 comma value, key 1 comma value. Key 1 comma value is you are getting the 2 times. The same value you are getting the 2 times, and the offset is the value is 1, that is key 1. And you are getting the 2 times the value, and the offset is key 8. That is what you should observe here. So, and later on, that partitioning functions, with the help of these partitioning functions, here you can just use any sort of partitioning functions that depends on your problem statement. If the problem statement is meant for counting how many number of words in a particular file, so not how many number of words, how many times a word is repeated in a particular given file. So here the sort function will do such thing. So here the sort, the key 1 comma value and key 1 comma value, see 2 times the same value can be appeared, right? Okay, so like this, the key 2 value, just it sorts the given data, and again key 8 comma value, key 8 comma value. So that is internal, that is a map reduce library. From the map reduce library, it just gets the some sort of support to perform this sort function. And then later on the group is going to be happening. Key 1 is having two times the value is going to be repeated with the same offset key 1. So this grouping is going to be happen after sorting. Okay, so this input will be given to the reduce, and then the reduce will finalize the main output and the particular key value and the output according to your logic. In what way that you will mold the reduce function, in such a way it gives the output. Okay, so this is nothing but in this manner the data flow is going to be happening in map reduce. Consider the word count example. The word count example means you are having such a file. So in that file, number of times you are getting and see here such words having the most, people, ignore, and yes, All these are the certain words you are having in your file. So most, people, ignore, most, and poetry. So all these are the certain words in one file and in another file. So here two blocks you are giving as an input to the map function. Then this map function just gets this data, right? And then here it adds one value to each and every word. That value is 1. Yes, most, 1, people, 1, ignore, 1, most, 1, and poetry, 1. This is for the first block of file. And for the second block of file, also the first word is, what is the first word now? Yes, just it appends one key value, that is the one value, that is an indication line. It adds one value. That is most, 1, poetry, 1, okay, poetry, 1, and ignores, 1, most, 1, people, 1. Yes, this is for the second block. Now here the task is, how many number of times in these two files you got the word that is most, that is people, that is poetry, okay, right, that is ignores. How many number of times this ignore word you can get in this? That is what you should require from the main MapReduce framework. You require this as an output. Okay, so for this the map will do the task like this, and after all a sorting function is going to happen. Sorting function here, the lexical alphabetical function is going to be happen in the library. According to that, it it performs a sorting function. It gives the output as ignore, 1, ignore, 1, and most, 1, most, 1, most, 1, most, 1, people, 1, right? So in alphabetically it arranges all the data items. Then it comes to the grouping function. With the grouping function, here it groups. So here it groups the same items, ignores same kind of items at one place, and then it counts how many number of times, how many such items in the same group. Okay, here ignore is one group, most is one group, people is one group, poetry is another group. So here totally you are having the 5. Ignore and ignores. Ignores is different. Ignore is different. Yes is there, no? Yes is different. Right? So here, after grouping, ignore, 1, ignores, 1, and most, 1, 1, 1, 1. How many number of times? Yes, that is what going to be counted by reduce function. Reduce function will take this as an input, the key value as an input, and produces the key value. What is that key value here now? That the value is nothing but the ignore, and the key is nothing but the output, that is how many number of times that the value is going to be appeared in your two blocks of files. Ignore comes once, ignores occurs once, and most repeated 4 times in 2 files, and next people comes 2 times, and poetry comes 2 times. Right now? So this is nothing but the MapReduce function. A word count example on key value distribution. Thanks for watching. Thanks you all.